My name is Madison Clark. I'm 34 years old, and I've learned that promises can be dangerous things, especially the ones you make to your children. The night everything fell apart happened on a Friday at the end of October, the kind of Colorado evening where the air looks calm but bites hard once the sun disappears. I didn't know then that this would be the night I'd stop believing family was automatically safe. It's been 4 years since my husband Ethan died in a car accident on AC 25. Some days it still feels like the universe misfiled a report and forgot to fix it. Other days, the grief sits quietly in the background, like furniture you've learned not to bump into. Since then, it's just been me and Lily. Our apartment on Fax Avenue is small, a little too narrow in the hallways, and permanently smells like burnt coffee and over-toasted bread. But it's ours. Lily calls it the cozy place. I call it survival. Lily is 6, blonde hair, big blue eyes, and a kind of energy that feels borrowed from another world, the kind Ethan used to have before life taught him restraint. She still laughs with her whole body, still believes adults know what they're doing. That Friday afternoon, I picked her up from the after-school program at K-Fax Elementary. She was sitting cross-legged on the carpet, carefully building a Lego princess castle, tongue poking out slightly in concentration. That's when my phone rang. It was Brian, my supervisor. His voice was tight, clipped, the sound of someone already behind schedule. Madison, I need you in Aurora, now. The main generator's down. Production is completely stalled. My stomach dropped. Night shift? I glanced at Lily, still working on her castle like nothing in the world could touch her. I can't, I said instinctively. I have my daughter. There was a pause, then a sigh. I know, but if we don't get this fixed tonight, the whole line stays down till Monday. Guilt is a powerful motivator, especially when rent is due. My parents were driving up from Colorado Springs for my sister Monica's birthday party. Already an hour away and stuck in traffic. No chance they'd make it in time. And then, reluctantly, I thought of Monica. I hadn't wanted to, but I did. I called her, heart pounding as if I already knew I was making a mistake. She answered on the second ring. "Oh, Maddie?" Her voice was cheerful, rushed, layered over background noise. Music, laughter, glasses clinking. "I have an emergency," I said quickly. "I need to work tonight. Can you watch Lily?" "Of course," she replied, almost too fast. "Bring her over. I'm having a birthday party, but Lily can play with Haley." Something about her tone made my shoulders tighten, but relief drowned it out. I packed Lily's overnight bag, her pajamas, spare clothes, and, most importantly, her teddy bear. The one she refuses to sleep without. Looking back now, I wish I could grab that version of myself by the shoulders and say, "Listen to your body. That unease is trying to protect you." But hindsight is cruel like that. On the drive to Monica's house, I thought about who my sister used to be. 3 years ago, Monica was an accountant with a modest salary and a laugh that came easily. After Ethan died, she showed up at my apartment with food, jokes, and patience. Lily called her Aunt Mooney, and the two of them were inseparable. Then came the divorce. Monica's ex-husband left her with money she'd never had before, and money changed everything. Her house, her clothes, her friends, and slowly, her heart. By the time I pulled into her driveway in Highlands Ranch, my unease had turned into something heavier. This wasn't a small party. Luxury cars lined the street. Caterers moved like clockwork. Jazz drifted through open windows. Monica's house glowed like it was hosting an award ceremony. She opened the door before I could knock. White silk dress, perfect curls, a smile meant for someone else. When her eyes landed on Lily, the smile flickered. Just for a second. "You sure this is okay?" I asked. "It's fine," she said lightly. "Just a few friends." My phone buzzed again. I knelt in front of Lily, smoothing her hair back. "I'll pick you up early." She looked at me seriously. "You promise?" "I promise." That was the moment. The one that would come back to me again and again. I watched Lily run inside with Haley, their laughter echoing behind them. I stood there for a second too long, a strange weight pressing against my chest. Then I turned away. I had no idea I'd just left my daughter in the most dangerous place of all. The drive to Aurora felt like my life split into 2 tracks. On one track, I kept telling myself I was being dramatic. Monica was my sister. She loved Lily. She'd babysat before. Nothing was going to happen. On the other track, a quieter voice kept repeating Lily's question like a curse. "You promise?" I arrived at the factory and went straight to the basement, the kind of place where cell service doesn't just die, it never existed. Concrete walls, metal stairwells, fluorescent lights that made everyone look sick. The air tasted like oil and rust. I threaded my hands through cables and panels for what felt like hours, forcing my mind to focus on the generator, on torque, wiring, voltage, anything except the growing knot in my stomach. At one point, I realized I'd left my insulated pliers in the car. I cursed under my breath and climbed back up. The moment the cold night air hit my face, I had that odd sensation like something was waiting for me. My phone was on the passenger seat. The screen looked wrong. Not dark, not quiet. It was flashing. My heart did a sharp, ugly stutter. Missed calls. Missed calls from an unknown number. 2 from my mom. And the worst part? It wasn't the number of calls. It was the timing. Something had happened while I was underground and unreachable. My fingers fumbled. I pressed my mom's name and put the phone to my ear so fast it hurt. She answered before the first ring even finished. "Madison, thank God. Where are you?" Her voice wasn't just panicked. It was breathless, like she'd been running, like she'd been screaming and finally ran out of air. "I'm at work," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I was in the basement. No signal. What's going on?" There was a pause, a sharp inhale. And then my mother said words that ripped clean through me. Lily's not at Monica's house." My hand tightened around the phone. "What do you mean she's not there?" I said, already not liking the way my own voice sounded. Mom's words came out fast now, tumbling over each other. "We were on I-25. Traffic was backed up because of an accident. We couldn't get to the party on time. And then Haley called me crying. She said Monica kicked Lily out of the house." My vision blurred. For a second, the world tilted, like the parking lot was suddenly underwater. "Kicked her out?" I repeated, as if saying it slower would make it less real. "Mom, Lily is 6. She wouldn't—" "I know," Mom snapped, and then her voice broke. "We tried calling Monica. She didn't answer. Your father called the police. We called you over and over. And when we finally got to Monica's, your sister said Lily ran away on her own." My mouth went dry. "No," I whispered. "No, Monica wouldn't do that." But even as I said it, images started popping up in my head. That flicker of her smile at the door. The way she said, "Just leave Lily here," like Lily was a bag I could set down and forget. My mother's voice was shaking now, but there was something else in it too. Something cold. "Madison," she said, "your sister looked me in the eyes and told me to go search the neighborhood like Lily was a lost cat." The air left my lungs. I didn't even remember hanging up. I only remember calling Brian with hands so unsteady I hit the wrong buttons twice. "My daughter's missing," I choked out. "I have to go." Then I ran to my car. The generator, the production line, the overtime pay, none of it mattered anymore. I peeled out of the parking lot like the devil was in my rearview mirror. Every red light felt personal. Every slow driver in front of me felt like an enemy. I tried calling Haley back. No answer. I tried Monica. Straight to voicemail. I tried again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. My brain kept trying to bargain. Maybe Lily was inside and Mom misunderstood. Maybe Lily was with Haley. Maybe Lily was hiding because she got scared. But the truth didn't care about my denial. The truth was out there in the cold. Somewhere my 6-year-old daughter didn't belong. By the time I reached the Highlands Ranch police station, my hands were numb from gripping the steering wheel. I burst through the doors so hard they swung back and hit the wall. "Madison Clark," I panted at the front desk. "My daughter, Lily Clark. She's missing. My family said—" The officer's expression changed immediately. He pointed down the hall. "Ma'am, she's here." My legs almost gave out. I turned and saw her. Lily was sitting on a hard plastic chair wrapped in a silver emergency blanket, like some tiny survivor pulled from a disaster zone. Her cheeks were dirty. Her lips looked pale. Her hair was tangled, like she'd been crying into it for hours. And her whole body was shaking. Colorado nights in late October drop fast, down into the 40s, cold enough that even grown adults complain. Lily had been out there in a thin shirt. I ran to her and dropped to my knees. "Lily," I choked. Her head snapped up. The moment she saw me, she broke. She launched herself into my arms like she thought I might disappear again. "Mom, Mommy," she sobbed into my neck. "I was so scared, so scared." I held her so tightly I could feel her heartbeat slamming against mine. I checked her quickly, scraped knees, dirt under her fingernails, bruises forming on her shins. No blood, no broken bones. But the way she clung to me? That was a wound I couldn't bandage. Behind her I saw my parents. My mom's face was flushed. Her jaw locked like she'd been holding back a scream for hours. My dad stood stiff and silent, too silent. I knew that silence. It meant rage was swallowing him whole. I pressed my lips to Lily's forehead again and again, like I could kiss the terror out of her. "That's okay," I whispered. "You're safe. You're safe. I'm here." And then the officer approached. He looked down at Lily, then back at me. "Ms. Clark," he said carefully, "we didn't find one child tonight. I blinked. What? We found two. I turned slowly, and that was when I saw Haley. My niece sat across the room in the same pink princess dress she must have been wearing at the party, except now it was muddy, streaked brown and gray, like she'd crawled through the earth. Her ballet flats were ruined. Her face was blotchy with dried tears. 11 years old, sitting there with her hands folded in her lap like she was trying to hold herself together by force. The officer continued quietly. Our patrol found Lily and Haley huddled under the pedestrian bridge near Redstone Park, nearly a mile from Monica's home. Haley was using her body to shield Lily from the wind. For a moment, I couldn't speak. My niece, my sister's child, had done what her own mother wouldn't. Haley looked up and saw me watching. She stood so quickly her chair scraped the floor. Then she ran. She stumbled over her dress, almost falling, then threw her arms around me and Lily, sobbing so hard she couldn't catch her breath. "I'm sorry," she cried. "I called you, but you didn't answer, and I couldn't leave Lily out there alone." Her voice cracked on the last word. I felt something rip inside me. This child was apologizing for saving my daughter. I wrapped one arm around Lily and the other around Haley, pulling them close until both girls were pressed into me like they were trying to merge into one safe place. "Nobody did anything wrong," I said, my voice shaking. "Nobody. You hear me? You're both safe now. I'm here." Lily hiccuped against my shoulder. Haley cried silently, tears soaking my jacket. My mother walked over and wrapped her shawl around Haley's shoulders, holding her like she'd been holding herself together by anger alone until now. My dad turned and walked outside without a word. A few minutes later, the scent of cigarette smoke drifted in. Dad only smoked when he couldn't contain what he felt. The officer asked, "Do you want to file a report?" I nodded. But before anything else, I needed the truth. I sat down with Lily still in my arms and Haley's ice-cold hand in mine. My voice came out softer than I felt. "Tell me," I said. "Tell me exactly what happened tonight." Haley's eyes darted to my mom, then down to the floor. She swallowed hard, like the story tasted bitter. And Lily, my Lily, opened her mouth first. Her little voice shook. "It was the dog." Lily's fingers tightened in the fabric of my jacket as she spoke, like she was afraid the story itself might push her away from me. "Aunt Monica took me to a room in the back," she said softly. "She gave me Bella." I felt my jaw clench. Bella. Monica's purebred white Pomeranian. The one she'd bragged about on social media. The one that cost $1,800. Like that number was part of the dog's name. "She said the dog was sick," Lily continued. "She told me to stay there and not let Bella go outside. She said if the dog made a mess, she'd be really mad." Lily paused, her eyes flicking up to my face, checking my reaction. I forced myself to nod gently. "Okay, sweetheart, keep going." "She left," Lily said. "The music was loud. I could hear people laughing. I was holding Bella on my lap for a long time. My chest started to ache. A 6-year-old. Alone. Babysitting a sick dog while adults drank champagne. I wanted cake," Lily whispered. "So I asked Aunt Monica when she came back." Her lip trembled. She didn't answer me. She just walked away. I closed my eyes for half a second, breathing through my nose, trying not to let my anger leak out and scare her. "She brought me outside later," Lily said. "I had to stand next to Haley while people talked. Everyone said Haley looked pretty." Haley's head dropped at that. "I didn't mind," Lily added quickly, like she thought she was supposed to. "But then Aunt Monica told me to go back to the room again. She said I had to watch Bella." My mother's hands curled into fists in her lap. Lily swallowed. "I had to go to the bathroom. I put Bella down. I thought she'd stay, but she ran." Her voice cracked. "She ran really fast. I chased her, but I couldn't catch her." I felt Lily's body tense, as if reliving it. "I didn't know what to do," she whispered. "I was scared." Haley lifted her head then, her eyes red but determined. "Mom found out because one of her friends asked where the dog was," she said quietly. "She went to the room and saw the door open." Haley's hands twisted together. "I've never seen my mom's face look like that before," she said. "It was like she wasn't my mom anymore." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "She yelled at Lily," Haley continued. "She said the dog cost $1,800. She told Lily to find it, and then she pushed her outside." Lily flinched at the word pushed. "She slammed the door," Haley whispered. I grabbed her arm and begged her to stop. I told her it was dark. She told me to stay out of it. My mother sucked in a sharp breath. Haley wiped her eyes with the back of her sleeve. "I tried calling you," she said to me. "I tried Grandma and Grandpa too. Grandma told me to stay inside and wait." She hesitated. "But I couldn't." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I looked outside and it was really dark. I knew Lily was scared." I wrapped my arm tighter around her shoulders. "So I ran out," Haley said. "I ran and ran. I yelled her name, but everything looked the same. All the houses, all the streets." Lily nodded slowly. I tried to go back, she said, but I didn't know which way was home. I sat down and cried. I called for you. My throat closed. I heard crying, Haley said. I followed it. Lily was under the bridge. She was shaking. I was so cold, Lily whispered. Haley squeezed her hand. I hugged her, Haley said. I put my arms around her so she wouldn't be alone. The room was silent, except for Lily's uneven breathing. An 11-year-old child had become a shield against the night. I pressed my lips together, feeling tears burn behind my eyes. My dad came back inside then, the smell of smoke clinging to his jacket. His face was rigid, jaw clenched so hard the muscles twitched. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. After the officers finished taking statements, we drove to Monica's house. Lily and Haley sat in the back seat, still holding hands like they were afraid letting go would undo everything. When we arrived, the party was gone. The lights were dim. A police car sat in the driveway. A few guests lingered on the sidewalk, whispering, watching like spectators at the end of a show they didn't know how to leave. Monica sat on the front steps. Mascara streaked down her face. Her shoulders shook as she cried. But when she saw Haley step out of the car, she sprang up. "Haley!" she screamed, grabbing her shoulders. "Where have you been? Do you know how worried I was?" I stood there with Lily in my arms, frozen. My father stepped forward, his voice low and dangerous. "Let go of the child." Monica turned, still sobbing. "You don't understand," she said. "I was worried sick." My mother's voice cut through the night, calm and sharp as glass. "You were worried about Haley," she said. "Then who was worried about Lily when you pushed her out into the street?" Monica stammered. That was different." I stepped forward. "Different how?" I asked, my voice steady in a way that surprised even me. "Your daughter goes missing and you panic. My 6-year-old gets locked outside in the dark and that's different?" Monica opened her mouth. I didn't let her speak. I turned to the guests still watching and said clearly, "This woman kicked her 6-year-old niece out of her house over a dog that cost $1,800. A ripple went through the crowd. People started leaving. Monica screamed then, shrill and desperate. "You don't understand. This party was important. My business partners were here." My mother picked up a glass of red wine. She walked forward slowly. "Was the party more important than the children?" she asked softly. Monica didn't answer fast enough. The wine flew. It splashed across Monica's face, staining her dress, dripping down like something rotten finally made visible. "I raised you better than this," my mother said quietly, "and I don't recognize who you are anymore." Haley stepped forward. Her voice was small, but it didn't shake. "Mom," she asked, "was the dog more important than Lily?" Monica said nothing. Haley swallowed. "More important than me?" That was the moment Monica lost everything. I picked Lily up, took Haley's hand, and walked away. I didn't look back. The drive home was silent. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy, suffocating silence that presses against your ears and makes every breath sound too loud. Lily fell asleep first. Her small body curled into mine in the back seat, exhaustion finally winning over fear. Even in sleep, her fingers clutched my jacket like she was afraid I'd disappear if she let go. Haley stared out the window the entire time. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just watched the streetlights pass, her reflection sliding across the glass, like she was already learning how to disappear. When we got back to my apartment, Lily refused to let go of my hand. She followed me from room to room, even into the bathroom, standing just outside the door whispering, "Mom?" every few seconds, as if she needed proof I was still real. That night, she didn't sleep. Every time her eyes closed, her body jerked awake. At 2:17 a.m., she sat straight up in bed, screaming my name, drenched in sweat, sobbing about the dark, about being lost, about the door closing behind her. I held her until dawn, and I knew, with a certainty that settled deep into my bones, that whatever Monica had broken, it wasn't going to heal quickly. 2 weeks later, Child Protective Services contacted us. The word investigation felt surreal, like something that belonged in someone else's life. Monica was being formally investigated for child abandonment and endangerment. But paperwork didn't keep me awake at night. Lily did. She stopped sleeping alone, stopped wanting to go anywhere unfamiliar. She flinched when doors closed too loudly. Every mistake, spilled milk, dropped crayons, sent her into panicked apologies. "I'm sorry, Mommy, I won't do it again. Please don't be mad." Each time she said it, something inside me cracked. Haley moved in with my parents temporarily. My mom told me Haley barely spoke for days. She'd sit by the window for hours, staring outside like she was waiting for something or someone to come back. 11 years old and already learning how to swallow pain. Meanwhile, Monica's life collapsed faster than I ever imagined. One of the guests posted what happened online. Just a short post. No exaggeration, no drama, just the truth. That was enough. Appointments at her spa were canceled in waves. Business partners stopped returning calls. Her new friends, the ones who toasted her success, vanished. 3 months after opening, Serenity Wellness closed permanently. Money couldn't save her. Status couldn't protect her. And suddenly, the woman who once believed $1,800 mattered more than a child had nothing left to hide behind. She tried calling me. I didn't answer. She texted. I didn't read them. Not because I hated her, but because I didn't trust myself to speak without screaming. 2 months later, my mom called me quietly. Haley wants to see her mother, she said. I closed my eyes. What did she say? I asked. Mom hesitated. She said, someone has to remind Monica who she used to be. That visit happened without me. Later, my mom told me Monica and Haley sat together on the couch for nearly an hour without speaking. Haley just held her mother's hand. No accusations, no anger. Eventually, Monica broke down. I don't know what happened to me, she cried. I don't recognize myself anymore. Haley's response was simple. You got lost, she said. But people who are lost can find their way back. You taught me that. Not long after, Monica started therapy. And then the letter came. 4 pages, no excuses, no blame, just accountability. I read it once and wanted to tear it up. The second time, I folded it and shoved it into a drawer. The third time, I just sat there, staring at her handwriting. I didn't forgive her. But I didn't throw it away either. A year passed. Monica sold the mansion and moved into a small apartment in Aurora. Haley moved back in with her, slowly, carefully. Lily grew. She still had nightmares. Fewer, but they were there. She stopped mentioning Aunt Mooney altogether. I didn't push. Some silences deserve respect. Then yesterday, my parents came over with Haley. Haley held a small brown teddy bear. This is from my mom, she said gently. Press its belly. Lily hesitated. Then she pressed it. Monica's voice filled the room, shaky, raw, unpolished. Hello, Princess Lily. This is Aunt Mooney. I know I hurt you. I don't deserve forgiveness. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I miss you. I miss us. If you ever want to see me, I'll be here. I'll always be here. The recording ended. I held my breath. Terrified Lily would cry. She didn't. She looked up at me and asked softly, Mom, Aunt Mooney still has Teddy at her house, right? I blinked. I want Teddy back, Lily continued. He needs to meet Chubby Bear. And just like that, I laughed through tears. Because sometimes children understand what adults don't. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It isn't rushing. It's choosing, one small step at a time, not to let the darkness decide who we become. That night, after Haley and my parents left, Lily carried both teddy bears into her bed. She lined them up carefully, pressing their noses together like she was reuniting old friends who had been separated by a misunderstanding too big for words. See, she whispered to them, you're together now. I sat on the edge of her bed, watching her with a strange ache in my chest. Children don't process pain the way adults do. They don't spiral into endless what-ifs. They don't replay conversations looking for fault lines. They simplify. And sometimes, in that simplicity, they find the truth faster than we ever could. Lily fell asleep within minutes, her breathing steady, her hands resting lightly on the bears instead of gripping me in fear like she used to. That was new. I stayed there long after she drifted off, listening, waiting for the familiar hitch in her breath that usually came when nightmares took over. It didn't come. For the first time in a long while, the apartment stayed quiet. Over the next few weeks, small things began to change. Lily started sleeping through the night more often than not. She stopped flinching when doors closed. She stopped apologizing for every tiny mistake like the world might exile her for it. Healing didn't arrive like a miracle. It arrived like a whisper. Haley came by occasionally with my parents. She and Lily played like nothing had ever happened, drawing pictures, building Lego castles, arguing over stuffed animals like ordinary kids. But there was something different about Haley now. She listened more, watched more, carried herself like someone who had learned too early that adults can fail. Sometimes, when Lily wasn't looking, Haley would glance at me with an expression that felt far too old for her face, a mix of gratitude and guilt that didn't belong to a child. One afternoon, as the girls colored at the kitchen table, Haley looked up suddenly and asked, Aunt Madison, do you think people can really change? The question landed heavier than she intended. I didn't answer right away. I said carefully, people can change if they're willing to lose what they're protecting instead of protecting what they love. She nodded slowly, as if filing the answer away for later. Monica continued sending letters. Every month. She never asked for forgiveness, never blamed stress, money, or circumstance. She wrote about therapy, about learning how to sit with discomfort instead of running from it, about realizing how afraid she'd been of losing status, and how blind that fear had made her. I read every letter. I still didn't respond. Not because I wanted to punish her, but because forgiveness, like trust, isn't something you can demand on a schedule. My parents never pressured me. They never told me what the right thing to do was. Maybe because they understood something now that they hadn't before, that loving someone doesn't mean excusing what they've done. A few days ago, Lily asked me something unexpected while we were brushing her teeth. Mom? Yes, baby? When I turn 8, can Haley come to my birthday? I froze for half a second. Of course, I said gently. Do you want Aunt Mooney there too? Lily thought about it, foam dripping down her chin. Maybe not yet, she said honestly, but Teddy should go visit first. I laughed softly, and I understood. She wasn't closing the door forever. She just wasn't ready to open it all the way. And that was okay. It's been more than a year since the night my sister chose money over a child. Since the night 2 girls huddled under a bridge while adults toasted success inside a mansion. Since the night I learned that family isn't defined by blood, but by who protects the vulnerable when it actually matters. People often ask me if I'll ever forgive Monica. I don't have an answer. Not yet. But I do know this. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending something never happened. And it doesn't mean welcoming someone back before you're ready. Forgiveness is about setting yourself free from carrying anger that no longer serves you. And sometimes, the person who teaches you that is a 6-year-old girl holding 2 teddy bears, reminding you that healing doesn't have to be loud to be real.